was done on the soundstage, and the interior of that house was built on the soundstage. So we lived in there for weeks, doing all that clue stuff.
Sorry, are you sick of hearing people doing impressions of you?
Like Back to the Future. Tell me, Future Lloyd.
Stop that. Speaking of the animation in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, most of that film was shot in London, and they had like an old factory building, about 4 stories high, old brick building, walk up. It had been a factory or something, so that each floor was like pretty much clear of obstacles. And I visited there a few times, and it's where all the animators did their animation work. And it was extraordinary. There was all cubicles. You went up there, these guys, animators from all over the world, Japan, India, China, Europe. They're doing it the old-fashioned way before everything became computerized, where each cell, so to speak, an animator would paint or draw one part of it, and then it was passed on to somebody else who added something else. And it was extraordinary. And all the animators up there looked like they lived there for years. Discarded Chinese food boxes, smoking. I mean, it was amazing. And Bob Zemeckis made that film a large part as a homage to all the great animators who created all the original Disney films, etc. So it was a real treat to see that happening. Yeah. Well, the jacket. This is back when you had records, and Leopold Stokowski had his arm raised with a baton in his hand. He had this sharp white hair coming behind him with his profile. And that was a lot of my image for Doc Brown. I remember my father looked at that jacket and he said, I'm sure he's a great musician, but does he have to have his hair like that?
We have time for one more question.
Your character in Back to the Future, was it modeled after your character in Taxi? Was your character in Back to the Future modeled after the character in Taxi?
No. Reverend Jim comes from a very different place. Very different place. But thank you. It reminded me once I was in a Q&A like this, and a boy raised his hand, and they brought him a mic, and the boy asked, now that you're older, do you like not having to put on old age makeup? It's pretty hilarious.
I think that's all the time we have.